The morning mist clung to the rolling hills of northern Georgia like a shroud, softening the edges of trees and roads, and yet failing to mask the tension in the air. Dew drenched the soldiers' boots, and the faint scent of iron lingered from skirmishes days before. Among the ranks marched a boy, barely 14, his small frame weighed down by the strap of a battered drum. Samuel's hands shook slightly as he adjusted the strap. "I'm too small for this. Everyone can see it. I shouldn't even be here." He forced a deep breath, trying to steady the tremor. The drum wasn't just an instrument. It was a lifeline, a fragile tether to courage in a place where fear threatened to swallow everything. A sergeant barked, breaking Samuel's thoughts. "Keep the rhythm, boy. The men march to your beat, and the battle, it will follow your drum." Samuel nodded, swallowing hard. "I can do this. I must do this. If I falter, they'll falter too." He lifted the sticks and began a cautious tap, 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 slow at first, then finding the pace of the march. Every beat seemed louder than it should have been, echoing in his chest like the warning drums of an approaching storm. Soldiers glanced at him, some with encouragement, others with skeptical eyes that weighed heavily on him. They don't know me. They don't know what it's like to be this small, this fragile. But Samuel pressed on, letting the rhythm carry him forward, letting it carry them all. By mid-morning, the distant thunder of cannons rolled across the hills. The earth itself seemed to shiver under the vibrations. Samuel's drumsticks trembled as he tapped, trying to keep the beats steady. Why did I think I could do this? The men are strong, they are ready. And I am just a boy. The captain rode past, his eyes sharp. "Chickamauga awaits, men. Keep your nerve and follow the drum." Samuel forced a nod, focusing on the rhythm, letting it drown out the growing pit of fear in his stomach. Around him, men whispered prayers under their breath, tightened their grips on rifles, or stared blankly at the ground. Their fear was a current he could feel, flowing into his young body through the wooden drumsticks. He caught a glimpse of the forest ahead, smoke curling faintly from distant cannon fire. The air thickened with the scent of damp leaves and iron. Samuel's chest tightened. This isn't a storybook battle. This is real. This is fire, blood, and the ground shaking beneath our feet. The regiment marched through narrow trails, the trees closing around them like silent sentinels. Samuel's drumbeat kept pace with the soldiers, a steady push against the creeping dread. Yet with every step, the sounds of distant artillery grew closer, sharper, like the growl of a predator circling its prey. I have to be brave. I have to make them believe. If my hands shake, the men will notice. They can't know how terrified I am. He remembered his mother, kneeling by the kitchen fire just weeks ago, her hands folded in prayer. If I survive this, I have to go back to her. I have to see her smile again. I have to be more than just a drum boy. A corporal passed by, giving Samuel a brief nod. "Keep that beat, boy. Lives depend on it." The words made Samuel's stomach twist. Lives. Are carrying lives in my hands? How can a boy do that? The forest parted slightly, revealing a valley below, and there it was, the enemy lines, glinting rifles catching the sunlight, their own drums tapping a haunting counterpoint. Samuel froze for a heartbeat. So many, so close. How will I survive this? The captain's voice broke through the haze. "Steady, eyes forward, drums first, then courage." Samuel's hands shook as he lifted the sticks. He began to tap again, slow and deliberate, trying to match the fear and determination around him. Each beat became a message. "We are here. We are holding. We will not break. I am just a boy, but they are listening to me, and I can't fail them." The wind carried the faint metallic smell of gunpowder. Samuel's thoughts flickered to his sister's laughter, a memory he clung to like a lifeline. Hold on to this. Hold on to hope. If I can keep this beat, maybe we all can. The regiment halted at the edge of a ridge, overlooking the battlefield. The men shifted nervously, the forest behind them alive with whispers of fear and anticipation. Samuel could feel their eyes on him, silently demanding courage he did not feel. If I stop now, what happens? Will they falter? Will they die? He shook the thought away, focusing on the beat. Tap, tap. The drums seemed to speak for him now, louder than any voice, steadier than any heartbeat. Samuel closed his eyes for a brief moment. This is my duty, my moment. My life is not mine alone anymore. A cannon fired in the distance, the reverberation rattling through his bones. Samuel's fingers tightened around the sticks. It begins, and I am ready. I must be ready. The mist began to lift, revealing the rolling hills stretching into uncertainty, each slope hiding danger, each tree line a promise of chaos. And Samuel, small, frightened, yet determined, drummed on. Each beat a defiance, a signal, a prayer for courage. I am here. I am not leaving. I will keep the rhythm. I will survive. The forest trembled as the Confederate line surged forward, their shouts and drums mingling with the roar of cannons. Samuel's small hands gripped the drumsticks tightly, knuckles white. This is it. This is really it. I can't run. I can't stop. I have to keep the rhythm. The first volleys cracked the air, the sharp whistle of bullets slicing through the mist. Samuel's heart leaped into his throat. I've never felt the air move like that. They are coming, and I am just a boy. Just a boy with a drum. He began to beat, unevenly at first, then faster, letting the rhythm guide the men. The sound was small against the thunder of war, yet somehow it gave them something to cling to amid the chaos. Each strike on the drum was a heartbeat, a fragile lifeline connecting him to the men around him. A soldier fell nearby, crying out. Samuel froze, the world tilting around him. I can't stop. I mustn't stop. If I stop, everything falls apart. He raised the sticks again and drummed, louder, faster, letting the fear fuel him. A shell exploded closer than Samuel expected, hurling him to the ground. When he scrambled up, the drum lay shattered, wood splintered, straps torn. Panic gripped him like ice. No, I can't lose this. I am nothing without it. But then he saw the wounded around him, soldiers groaning in mud, blood staining uniforms, eyes wide with pain. Instinct overtook terror. Samuel ran to them, gathering water from a canteen, handing bandages, whispering words he barely understood himself. It's going to be okay. I'm here. One soldier grasped his arm. Boy, you're saving me. Samuel shook his head, swallowing the lump in his throat. I didn't save anyone. I'm just doing what I can. That's all a boy like me can do. Smoke and fire swirled, shadows flickering across the ground. Every explosion made him flinch. Every scream pulled at his heart. Yet amidst the nightmare, he found moments of humanity. A hand squeezed in gratitude. A faint smile from a man who could barely lift his head. As the battle raged, Samuel moved like a shadow, unnoticed yet crucial. I am invisible, and yet I am here. I am part of this. I am helping. He spotted a young private, barely older than himself, frozen with terror. Samuel grabbed his arm. Keep moving. Breathe. We're alive. That's all that matters. The boy nodded, following Samuel's lead. Maybe I am braver than I thought. Maybe courage isn't about size or strength. Maybe it's about heart. Hours passed like minutes, and minutes stretched into eternity. Smoke choked the valley, the scent of wet earth and iron thick in the air. Samuel's chest burned, arms ached from running and lifting, but still he pressed on. I have to survive. I have to keep helping. I can't stop. As night fell, the battlefield quieted, leaving only the groans of the wounded and the crackling of distant fires. Samuel found a shallow ditch and collapsed beside it, the broken drum at his side. He stared at the stars above, cold and distant. Will I ever see home again? Will I ever see my mother's face? Tears came unbidden, sliding down his soot-streaked cheeks. I am not the same boy who marched this morning. That boy, he's gone. I am something else now, something stronger, but heavier too. Yet pride lingered in his chest. I helped. I survived. I did what I could. That matters. A soft wind stirred the broken leaves around him. Samuel imagined his mother, praying for him as she had always done. She would be proud, wouldn't she? Even if I am scared, even if I am tired, I am still here. The men slept fitfully, their faces etched with exhaustion and trauma. Samuel lay awake, listening to the distant echoes of battle, the whisper of wind through broken trees. Tomorrow we march again, and I have to face it. I have to be brave. I have no choice. He traced his fingers over the drum's splintered wood. It's broken, just like me. But maybe I can still be a drum. I can still carry hope, even without it. He thought of letters he would someday write, of telling his mother he was alive. I'll tell her I survived. I'll tell her I did my part. That's all I can do. The night seemed endless, but Samuel closed his eyes, a fragile thread of hope in his heart. I am still a boy, but I am learning what courage is, learning what it means to survive, and to help others survive too. Dawn arrived gray and hesitant, like a wounded soldier rising from the ground. The smoke that had choked the valley through the night began to lift, revealing a battlefield scarred with mud, shattered trees, and the faint glimmer of discarded rifles. Samuel rose slowly, muscles aching, his back stiff from the long hours of running, helping and drumming. I'm still alive, he thought, pressing a hand to his chest. I made it through. I helped some of them. Maybe that matters. Around him the men stirred, faces haggard and haunted, yet moving with the stubborn rhythm of survival. Samuel picked up the remains of his drum, fingers tracing the splintered edges. Broken, like me. But maybe we can both be fixed. A fellow drummer boy, older and grimy from smoke and sweat, approached with a faint smile. You kept them moving yesterday. Don't let them forget. Samuel nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. I did keep them moving. I did something. That counts. Later, Samuel found a quiet corner among the trees and pulled a scrap of paper from his coat. His hand trembled as he wrote, Dear Mama, I am alive. I am safe. The war, it is terrible, but I am learning what courage is. Pray for us. Pray that it ends soon. He folded the letter and pressed it close to his heart, imagining her hands smoothing over the paper, her prayers carrying hope across the miles. I want to be brave for her. I want to be brave for all of them. He looked out over the valley, smoke curling from distant fires, and thought of the men he had helped. They are gone, or still alive. I don't know, but I tried. And that is enough for now. The regiment began to move again, down a narrow path lined with broken trees and silent witnesses of the night before. Samuel fell in step, drum in pieces at his side. His body was exhausted, but his mind was alive with determination. I am not the same boy who marched here yesterday. That boy, he's gone. But I am still here. And I will keep going. I will survive. He passed a young private, shivering and pale. Samuel gave a small nod. Keep moving. We'll make it, he whispered. Maybe courage is contagious. Maybe hope is too. The forest stirred with the first sounds of a new day. Birds called tentatively, the wind rustled dry leaves, and the distant hills glowed faintly with sunlight. Samuel lifted his chin, feeling a fragile thread of strength coil within him. I am small, but I am not powerless. One day, the drums will beat for home, not war. As the regiment continued their march, Samuel walked silently, thoughts heavy yet strangely calm. He recalled the faces of the wounded, the smell of gunpowder and mud, the thunder of cannon fire. He recalled the fear, the despair, the moments when his heart had threatened to give out. I have seen death, and I have seen courage. I have seen fear, and I have seen kindness. I am learning. I am growing. His hands brushed the splintered drum. It's broken, yes, but I can carry the rhythm inside me. I can carry it in my heart. That's enough. Samuel looked ahead, at the rising sun casting long shadows over the hills. The war isn't over. The battles will come again. But I am still here, and I will face it, one step at a time, one beat at a time. The path ahead was uncertain, littered with the scars of conflict. Yet amidst the ruins of yesterday's battle, Samuel felt a flicker of hope. The drum may be broken, the night may have been cruel, but he had survived. He had helped. He had learned what it meant to be brave, even when the world was against him. I am a boy, and I am more than a boy. I am a witness. I am a helper. I am alive. And tomorrow? Tomorrow I will keep marching. I will keep trying. I will keep the rhythm alive. The wind carried the faint scent of smoke and pine. Somewhere in the distance, the sound of drums echoed faintly, reminding Samuel that life continued, that courage persisted, that even in a world torn by war, small acts of bravery and care could endure. Samuel lifted his eyes to the horizon, the rising sun painting the hills gold. This is not the end. This is only the beginning. And I will face it. With that thought, he adjusted the strap of his broken drum, took a deep breath, and stepped forward into the fragile light of a new day.